Welcome back, subscribers. Um, the title of this is the Death of the Handshake Deal. I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, I talk a lot about business elements on this channel. We talk about um, everything as a transaction, whether it's a social transaction, a love transaction, cash, crypto, emotions. Everything is transactable. So I've been doing a lot of internalized work. Not only like myself, every morning I have meditations and things that I go through, um, but also like how does it associate to currently like what's happening, and how to interbridge both on like a spiritual, energetic environment, and then how that bridges into the corporeal environment, like the real space, and how things are changing, and everybody can see how that's happening. So inside this space in the reservoir is not only information on the changes of the basically how to do business. All right, that's basically what it is. It's like, okay, well, this is the old way that we did it, and then this is the new way, and it's bringing in and archiving both elements. So it's data points from the old, so that you can map, the way the direction, the way that things are going, and what you want to have happen. Or if it's not going to go in the direction like you want to manifest it, you're basically like kind of seeing the menu. That'd be the best way for me to describe this. That if you understand how cycles work and data points of things that have happened in the past, what you can do is use them as essentially a menu. Okay, well, I go in the Italian restaurant and I've gotten, I like their red sauce, and they grade their own cheese and so on, depending upon what you're, you know, you get what I'm saying. Like whatever's on the menu. Like you don't expect to get um sausages or French pastries when you go to, Giuseppe's House of Pizza. It's just probably not going to happen. So you make a decision on the heading and the decisions that you want to make, and that you just kind of really need to know what's, like, well, what are the ingredients here? So we're dealing with right now internationally with this great reset. All right. So where they're not only resetting like financial systems, but basically the way that you do business. And these are going to be some of the things I'm going to talk about. And it's going to be uh, you're going to have to just kind of pay attention. I would say go through the summaries to see when I'm talking about this particular element. And this is something that I have seen over 30 years of business and found that this is actually, if I'm drilling down, this is the corruptive source that ruins everything. This like one element. Like if I drill down into one thing, what is it? Is it that humans don't like each other and they're gaming and they're screwing each other? Um, Partially, but like really, what is it? Like if you could just change, like think of like the DNA of the person, and you could go into that one person, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Like that, this is again any social contract. This could be in business, a love affair with a wild love affair, something to do with having a transactable experience with that person or thing or entity, whatever, a relationship with it. And when you get started with it and you get the contract started, meaning like, okay, I'll buy this, I will use this product, I will take this person out to dinner, I will hang out with them in the backyard and drink beer, whatever the hell it is. Those are all transactable experiences. All right. On an energetic level, because you're dealing with emotional experience, you get a dopamine rush when you're with the person. They they tell you the things that you want to hear. They're similar to you. They've had similar experiences, right? And it's such a soothing feeling. Like if you've ever been around people that maybe you grew up with, that you're really close to, and then you guys all move away, and then 20, 30 years later, you run into each other. It could be for whatever reason, and you run into them, and it's like an instantaneous, like soothing safety zone. You feel like, wow, this is, I like, oh, let's hang out together. Well, what are you doing? And you find out like, well, the things that they're doing now, I'm really not too into it. But from the past memory and experiences and emotions that you had, it's very soothing, because you're like, well, that was a very safe time in my life, and we had a lot of fun and whatever, and it was like a lot. The transactions that we had back then were really great. I don't want to corrupt that and bring in, like I don't really not like what you're doing now, but I liked what we were doing in the past. If we could just stay in the past, I guess, but maybe not move. I don't know. It's hard to grow with people because they're typically growing in different directions, unless they have the same moral fabric, meaning that they have the same relative belief systems, or it might not be boiled down to belief, but it's more of a test that, like, whenever you emotionally test them, that they are a good person, that they're just, honorable. They follow through with what they say. Basically, they're there for you. Um, that's really what the fundamental problem with transacting in business is. That everyone, when you get started with them, you're like, you're all right with it. You're all right with the terms, and then you'll find that these people, one of the parties, either they lean harder on the terms, they stick to the terms, or they just totally don't stick to the terms. They assume that there's a variance in these terms, and you can do whatever you want outside of the terms. And this seems to be okay across the board, whether it's in business, and this is gameplay in business in general, in specifically this element. I say, like, hey, this is the death of handshake deals. All right. And this is what this is really about, and why the new system is a breath of fresh air for business owners. And from the perspective that we're seeing, is that it's going to completely change everything that is happening to everyone in the way that you transact, from everything, like social order to financials and so on. All right. So there's everything is dualistic, and I talk about this. There's a night and day element, masculine, feminine, whatever. All right. So inside of a transaction, you're going to have a masculine entity and a feminine entity. You're going to have a producer and a consumer. You're going to have do you see, like, a destroyer and a creator? That's inside of each one of these emotional transactions or business transactions or whatever. That means that those two parties, that it's not a 50-50 swap typically, right? Somebody's getting a little bit more than the other one, all right? In business in general, in paper business, in contracting, I'm talking black and white, real contracts. It is what it is. That would be considered, in the blockchain environment, that would be considered a smart contract. All right. These are the terms. I can't change it. After I've put it out there and it's digitized, there's no changing any of that bullshit. All right. It's that says, if the contract says I'm to bring you 10 apples every week on Saturday morning, and we're going to be there between 9 and 11 o'clock with no exceptions, those are the terms of the contract. And you're a produce vendor. You're like, well, I got to have these apples because I open up my shop at 11 and I need to have them by 10. So I need to have these. Just bring by 11. I show up there and we can receive them for 2 hours. I've got to have it this way. I have to have it this way. Okay. And then the guy selling the apples, like, all right, well, it's going to cost you this much for me to guarantee that being there. Shipping is another one. Be like, oh, you need it tomorrow? All right, it's $25 for a letter, really, or it's $40. It's be like, well, it's bulky, so it's going to cost you $800 to get it there the next day, right? So the terms change. But in this society that we're in right now, with this emergence of digital that has really come into play, I'd say my experience in Gen Xers, we've experienced this over the past 30 years, has really come into becoming very you can bet on it. I mean, it's pretty static. Like the market of that space, of that whatever that thing is, has been pretty consistent. So, for example, if I turn on the television, all right, that's a transaction. That's a single click. That's a transaction. Me making a choice is a transaction. Turn it on. I now have a smart TV. Smart TV, I can click on a hot button. I could go to Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever, something for my entertainment, right? And I want to go to those. I click on it, right? And then instantaneously it takes me to that. And it's it works, right? So whenever they first came out with this technology, it really wasn't so hot. And like, this is things that it wasn't like instantaneous, like, okay, we're going to roll out the new thing, it's going to work. And it didn't. But now it's common. Like, you go to, when we just took this trip across the country, and I've stayed at all these hotels. We drove across country from San Diego back to North Carolina. Every place that we stayed at, I don't give a shit how old the place was. There were some places that we stayed at that were like historic, like Route 66 type, like hotel-y, motel-y places. It's kind of cool. They had the same shit. They've got Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi, internet, smart TVs. You can log into your account. I can get my Netflix account or my Amazon account. I can get it right in my room, and I'm in the middle of effing nowhere. All right, that's fantastic. So that again is a clean digital element of me transacting the way that I want it. My smart contract. I whatever. I want to watch I don't watch Walking Dead. That's what just came in. I want to. You got a program that you like watching, right? And you like, I gotta have that. I like watching Friends. I like what you get the drift. You have a specific thing that you want to watch and be, it's like kind of like your daily do. You like watching murder movies, programs, things like that. You can have it your way. You don't have to wait for the programming. In the Gen X generation and the Boomer generations, we had to like go with whatever was on the programming, and we had like a TV guide, and we're like, oh shit, at 8 o'clock, A-Team comes on, and I'm gonna be there, right? Oh, and Dukes of Hazzard's at 8:30 on ABC. I'm gonna go watch that. So you had to wait it out. You had to wait through all the commercials. You had to wait, and anticipate, right? And be ready for it. Now it's instantaneous, not a big deal. Smart contracts, digital, got to have it my way, fast. Handshake deals. All right, so that means that they don't turn the tables on you. All right, that's that digital space on just in transacting TVs, movies, music, Amazon. I need to get whatever at Amazon. A new case for my phone. I need witch hazel. I need to get some witch hazel. I'll just go to Amazon. I'm not going to go to Walmart. I'll just have them ship it with the next shipment. It's so easy. Oh my gosh, they sell cookies. I'm going to have them send me cookies. Right? DoorDash and all kinds of things. It's just convenience. Fast. Transact. We're going to be able to track all these things and transact. And it's very convenient. It's great. And it works, right? DoorDash, food shows up. I ordered exactly XYZ. It was this much money. It's in all the fabric of what we're doing. I call an Uber, and the shit, it works. It doesn't matter where I go. Like, I can use that app, and I've done a reasonable amount of traveling. So I'm like, when I started using Uber, I don't know how many years ago it was. It was like pretty early on. I was like, well, this is great. I don't know why, but it makes me feel soothed that it isn't some gamble that I'm going to call a taxi, a dispatch, that it feels like I've got an independent contractor and that these people, it's just nicer. It's like their own automobile type of thing, and it's not, there was something about it that had a different vibe to it. And then it took off. And I think a lot of people picked up on that. But again, app, digital, the liaison between it is the same, is the smartphone. It's smart in this environment, transacting. It's all about these like clean transactions, smart contracts. The handshake deals. Be like, well, what's that, Danny? Be like, again, my experience in 30 years plus of contracting is in the building industry, all right, but dealing with, large national home builders and real contracts, all right? Whether it was for a homeowner, as I was working up the ranks, when I started when I was, I probably really started doing things for people for money when I was 14, all right? Ultimately, I mean, this could be anything from like mowing lawns. I mean, I had my own first, actually, you know what? The first contract I ever had was probably 13, and that would have been, I had a paper route, all right? So I had a contract with paper route. And those assholes, I think I've told the story before. It wasn't what was disclosed. It was a very vague contract. And I worked it. I think I got through a year and then found out, like, this isn't working. I'm out of here. This is bullshit. Not a surprise of where the newspaper business went. But anyway, it's a long time doing it. Go off on these tangents. What I have found over the years is that my level of refinement in these contracts has increased. right? So I'm like, oh, you're gonna screw me, or oh, it's not in there. Well, this isn't in the contract. I'm not paying for it. That type of shit, right? And I'm like, all right, next contract, I'm not making the same mistake twice. Everybody does this. Put it in the contract. Put it in the contract. Oh, did you read the fine print? All right, so I learned this it's just natural, but it's because of the customers. You get enough customers, um, 10 out of 10 customers, there's going to be, maybe it is even one, but let's say it's one. One person out of 10 is going to come back and have some kind of issue. Like you just can't, they become picky customers. Now, as that raised up and it went to larger firms, when I started dealing with Fortune 500 companies, they're the ones that set the contract. They have like a stock contract, and then we adjust their contract and be like, yeah, I'm not into that. I'm not going to do that. If you want us to come and do work for you, we're not doing this. This is bullshit. And they're like, well, we got to try. That's literally what it was. All right, well, just initial it, cross this out, put an X through it, and then we won't hold you to it. That's how it worked. And like contracts, like 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick, reading through it. And then as I contracted more with these companies, I would just make sure that the language was like congruent for each one of the contracts. Wouldn't have to go through it with a fine tooth comb, but I kind of got their drift of what they were trying to do and what they're trying to get from me. Handshake deals. So anyway, if I'm dealing with Toll Brothers, MI Homes, Pulte Homes, and you're talking, $500,000 contracts over the period of like a couple of years, like for projects and things like that. They just want the work done. All right. It's just at the end of the day, they're like, we need XYZ product. We need you to do the work. We need you to be responsible, you to have insurance. There's a lot of elements and things that come into play. Don't be effing around because this thing is a machine. If you stop this thing, we're going to find somebody else that wants to play. All right. So the handshake deals, what I have found is that you have that type of business that is it's solidified. That would be like considered like digital business. If I'm explaining this from like where we're heading right now with smart contracts, these handshake deals that I'm talking about are buddies. They're buddy cunt. Like I could pick up the phone when I was in whatever, market I was in, whether it was remodeling, new construction, XYZ, I had people that I did business with, and I could call on them and say, like, oh, something simple, like, could you be to the job on Thursday? I know that we talked about Friday. Can you be there Thursday? We got along. Oh yeah, I can. Or they would call me like, hey, can I? We'd work together, right? That's a handshake deal. That's not black and white. Something as simple as that. Like, hey, can you make a change? Can you guys just move this box over here, this electrical box, or like the fan needs to be in like this position? I just talked with them. Like, can you guys just move that? And they would just kind of like just take care of it and do it. That's a handshake deal. And as long as I didn't, as the GC, as long as I don't abuse them and go in there and just that's considered nickel and diming. Change. Just tell me what I need to do. This is a standard. I'm doing electrical in the house, the plumbing in the house. Like, but if you do something that's not normal, contract it. If it's something that's very small, I can get and be done with it in 5 minutes. Like it's not even worth contracting it because it's not any value. I appreciate the business, and it's kind of like, we're doing business together. I trust you, and you don't abuse me. You don't come in here and nickel and dime me and do this all fucking day long, and you're up my ass. All right, I like the work environment that you're doing. Now, this happens even for the W-2 environment. Long time ago, I was confronted with, I'm talking decades, being involved in groups and societies. I was confronted with lots of Masons, guys. And actually, I was telling Franklin about this. I said, it's funny. I go, they confronted me very, very early. Number of different guys wanted me to be part of it. But I wasn't into it. I just wasn't into it because actually, when I first got started with the masonry stuff, so funny. I thought it was actual real masons. So I was like a carpenter, general contractor, by trade. I was a wood guy, and I would hire out masons, masons, like literal masons, because there was really no real knowledge of it. I didn't really fully understand what that was, how naive and funny it was, and I would be like, hey, do you want to join the you want to be a Freemason? They would say Freemason. They would say, we're part of. I'm a Mason. And be like, oh, well, I'm a carpenter. Nice to meet you. So anyway, these guys in this environment, these brothers, they love handshake deals. They love it. They thrive on it because they're like, oh yeah, well we're part of this. We're part of the brotherhood. Yeah, join. It's a networking group. It's really great, and everybody takes care of each other. And I'll be like, oh well, that sounds really great. When I came to Raleigh, it really was. It's here, but it's not. I went to other networking groups that were not. I didn't even know of the corruption that was inside of it. So I had a number of people that confronted me to try to get into these networking groups, and I ended up going with some that were like, there wasn't a lot of extra elements like going to meetings and things like that. It wasn't necessary. I mean, the other ones, it's like that some of them they require like I have to pay dues and things like that, and it's like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. It's stupid. So the handshake deals. These society members, they're going to have some trouble because the digital world is, like what I said earlier, it's not a handshake deal space. These secret society guys, they thrive on it because they don't they're the only way that they get over on people is they do it because of the buddy system. They actually have a weakness in contracting, and many of them do this because they're weak contractors. They're lazy. All right. They do not put it in writing because that would require them to be held to what they say. When they say it by the word, and this is what they'll use, they'll be like, well, you can trust my word. Well, unless you're recording it, that changes because they'll come back and say, well, I never said that. And be like, well, yes, you did because I recorded it, a-hole. So whenever they use this as a mechanism inside of their space in order to give this plausible deniability that whenever they make a mistake, they're 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 pushing risk on someone else because they're actually really not very good at what they do. If they were, they'd be contracting in black and white. So I'm going to do some more videos that it's relating to this, and it's incredibly refreshing. So the system that these a-holes have created, okay, these oligarchy, hierarchy, whatever people that are running the whole planet have created with the digital system, it's going to cause an evaporation of the people that don't really belong in that system. All right. Of the word system, people that are part of the brotherhood. It's just gotten a little out of hand, and it's ruining business and commerce. All right. So there's going to be more of this is going to talk about, and this is the reservoir of things we talk about. Our paid stuff is more of how does this actually really work? How do I get into this? And them opening up a new environment for business to be happening that's transparent. All right. And how the actual blockchain actually really works, and how we use it and how other people can use it and be in this kind of free open environment that there's no handshake deals. There still kind of is. I mean, there's still, but it's tracked through digital blockchain. Okay. There's no backing out of it. These are the terms of the contract. This is what it is. But inside of that, you could still have handshake deals. Like we're privately setting up real world asset framework inside of our corporation so that we can have people that are inside the corporation, like family members and so on, use it as our own personal, basically hedge fund trust is what we're doing, right? And because we everybody trusts each other, right? It's simple. This same mechanism can happen, but we don't have. We have a blood oath. We'll get into that later. But it's kind of the same thing, only we don't. It's not necessary to use a word. Like you can actually do business with friends and family through smart contracts because that's a big no-no in business. You can do business with anybody inside of the digital system, and it makes no difference of what their religion is, the color of their skin, anything. It's a total equalizer. All right. And those are the things I'm going to talk about. But what we do at the Reservoir is creating an internalized community for people that are opening into this new world of possibility and moving forward, so that we can commune and trade information privately, because it's not really for the open public. All right, you can get into it. You don't have to do some creepy ritual and go in the closet with somebody for 15 minutes. You if you can contribute to it, it's free. Stuff like that. It's simple. It's a communal, like, it's an open source environment. But if somebody doesn't want to do that, then you can pay and come in. It's simple. All right, so I'm going to do another video right behind this one, and it's going to be talking about more about this, these handshake deals, like kind of basically how this works. All right, so cheers.